to the ISPO Textrends Award winner ceremony. My name is Susie and I'm Head of Partnerships and Innovation at ForSource. ForSource is a B2B platform for the textile and apparel industry, and our purpose is to connect all players of the textile value chain for smart, transparent and sustainable business. We're based in Berlin and we are long-term partners of ISPO, and we are now the organizers of the ISPO Textrends Award. We're all here because we're passionate about textile materials. And the ISPO Textrends Award was born from the idea to celebrate innovation in the sports and outdoor sector. And this is still our vision and goal for the ISPO Textrends Award. To celebrate innovation, to see what cool new developments there are out there, and also for the mills and suppliers behind these great products to get the deserved credits. Now, how do we reach this goal for the ISPO Textrends Award? There are two unique factors about the award. First of all, the award is based on trends for the textile and apparel industry set by our team of trend forecasters around Louisa Smith 2 years in advance. And this means that we're now looking at the textile trends for spring-summer 2024, even though we have 2022. The second factor is that our jury of textile professionals, they are evaluating all the products that are submitted to the award. So they have a close look and they passionately discuss which product should win, and then they're finally awarding the products. We're then showcasing all the winners physically in the ISPO shows. So here in Atrium 3 now we have the Textrends area outside, and we're also showcasing the products digitally within the digital Textrends hub on the ForSource platform. Now, today we celebrate the winners of Spring-Summer 2024, and what will happen now? First of all, Louisa will present the trends for textile trends for Spring-Summer 2024, and then afterwards we will announce all the best products in each category. And since Louisa is also part of the jury, she will give us the details and will explain why each product won, what is the reason, why is this product outstanding. So these are the 2 points for this presentation today. Before I hand it over, I want to thank all the suppliers again for submitting such great products. I want to thank the jury for their shared expertise. And I also want to thank the whole team behind the Textrends Award that made it possible to bring this award to life. Now, unfortunately, the best products, the suppliers behind the best products that are being announced now, they're not here with us today. We still have travel restrictions, it's still a complicated story, but we still want to celebrate them today. So at this point, I want to say congratulations to all the winners. And if you haven't seen the awarded products yet, come check them out at the Textrends area outside there. We're here to help you if you have any questions, and we can also get you in touch with the suppliers behind the products. And yeah, that's all from my side. And now with no further delay, I will hand it over to Louisa.
Thank you. Okay, hello everybody. Thanks for coming to the award and to the trend information for ISPO Textrends. First off, we'll say, it's been a while since we were in real life, but at the same time it feels like it's only been a minute because we managed to adapt over the lockdown and through to this live show. So we're seeing that develop further now. There's much more sort of like a hybrid effect in working. But for Spring-Summer 2024, our first direction that sort of like really encapsulated the mood was Countdown. We talked about sustainability, and everybody talks about sustainability, but it's now really at a serious point. And you'll see through our trends that it doesn't just rely on, say, recycled fabrics or natural fibres. It's right across the board in how we can become more sustainable. So we start with 3 megatrends, and this one was Succession. And here you'll see Sustainability Generation 2. And again, it's just the importance and what we wanted to highlight through the visual as well. It isn't just a natural direction. This is very sort of like high tech and sort of like this digitalization coming through. So it's really important, and especially with climate change and the Paris Agreement as well. But what's also interesting is when you achieve something that has really good sustainable credentials, that's not enough. You've got to keep going and keep developing more and more and more. It's never ending. Then we go on to conscious coupling, and this is where opposites attract, and it's not just in the hybrid blends we continue to see, and we're also seeing sort of like from the same gene pool of fibres, different fibres coming together to create interesting innovations, but also taking on a more conscientious approach when it comes to production. So we're seeing a lot of solar energy coming through. We're seeing a lot of fabric developments that need less cut, make and sew to them. But we're also seeing this sort of like new conscientious approach, not just from business, but also from the consumer. So in the past, we've had like B to C, we've had C to B, so now we're just doing B plus C, because it's really much more of sort of like a coupling approach. We've all got to work together. And then another area that was really good in our sector in the sports and outdoors is the end of the product life. Luckily, we have very good durable products. So the sort of like buy better, buy less, this higher life cycle of a product, and also the end use of a product. So we're seeing a lot more, second life and different sort of like recycling aspects and putting it back into the textile chain. And then reality bites. We can't avoid the metaverse. It's really important. And it's really interesting to see how it's influencing the consumer, because we can basically live parallel lives. And what's interesting as well, just from a sporting point of view, we can have avatars. We can actually physically do the sport, but the avatar will perform it for us as such. And we're seeing a lot of the brands buying into this area. You've got to have sort of like a physical collection and also a digital collection. So it's really important. Some of the brands are creating the sort of like their own worlds in the metaverse. So it's an area that you've really got to sort of like be involved in. But at the same time, with Reality Bites, it's digitalization as well. So again, that ties in with efficiency, it ties in with sustainability. So we're seeing a lot more sort of like cloud chain technology, and also a reduction in sourcing and sampling. And this kind of links in with ForSource as well, with the digital application of textiles. For the season, we always start with a core palette, and we know a lot of you have a core palette. And basically, our information that we share is to really sort of like be part of yours. What we say isn't the definite result of the season, but it's really sort of like a guideline and also to work with you. So our core palette this season was quite bright and quite naive. We wanted to keep it quite simple, and we sort of like brought in this stronger orange tone, and obviously the blue as well. These sunny applications. And then to complement the core palette, we always have 4 satellite palettes. And these all, can come across in different tones when, depending on the substrate that you use. If it's a natural fabric versus a synthetic, the colors will react differently. But fleeting was a really interesting one, where we were looking at nature and getting that luminosity coming through and the intense colors. Soul Surf, because of the spring-summer, we were looking at the beach, also tying into, sort of like the recycled ocean plastics, all that area. So that's very sort of like aged and very subtle tones. Natural Logic, again, sort of like more vibrancy coming through. And then Tantalize, this is where you see a real synthetic approach. And even though these colour suggestions, if you actually see it in the real thing, it's really quite dazzling. So we have 5 textile trends. The first one we came up with, and what happens is we develop the trend and colour information, and then it is sent out to people wanting to apply for ISPO Textrends. So we do this, as I mentioned, 2 years ahead, and this one, the first one was Amp It Up. Now this was about surfaces. It's also about disoriented applications and double-sided fabrics, three-layer fabrics, but it's not necessarily just about texture and, you know, raising it up. It's also about sort of like creating different fabrications that can go into different sectors. So that's important in sort of like amping up traditional boundaries. So I've just selected a few of the fabrics that we have in the forum. And just for example, like amping up this one here from Fernanda Valente in the top. What's quite interesting is they've amped it up in the fact that this is a grip band that's incorporated into the fabric. So at manufacturing, you don't have to apply that. So it's a much more seamless approach and you know, sustainable as well. Then we have At Ease, and again, this is very much the beach direction, very aged and you know, sort of like very subtle, very relaxed. You're buying fabrics that look like they've been worn, all the garments. And then the fabrics here, we saw a lot of natural fibres coming in this area, and also natural pigments and inks coming through, and the dyeing as well. So this is very relaxed, but there's also performance built in there. This is a great direction, hypersonic, and again, sort of like tying in with the metaverse, and we've got all the NFTs up there. And it's very much about, you know, sort of like a higher level performance for sport. So not all the fabrics are necessarily for just outdoors. We've still got to consider the sports sector. So, so we're just looking at protection. We're also looking at high compression, and again, a reduction in seams, a reduction in anything on the production side, so we can have more of a seamless approach. We're also seeing fabrics with like far infrared, a well-being, and you know, sort of like advantages to the sporting activity. And then some of the fabrics here, we've got, this is interesting from Torrid, it's a near infrared, so you're getting sort of like energized from the sunlight, plus it's got UV protection. So it's an interesting aspect in sort of like having this new levels of performance. And again, over there on that far side, it's a graphene yarn with FIR, quick dry, and UV resistance as well. So, you know, sort of like really enhancing the performance for the sporting activity. And then this is really a great direction. Again, quite sort of like when you see some of the digital art at the moment, it's really sort of like escapism, and when you get in there. So with these images, we were really looking for something different, but also through the touch. The touch is really important, comfort as well. There's no point in developing any fabrics that haven't got a really good hand feel, because it's just pointless, you know, it's a waste of time. The consumer really wants a good hand, a luxury and smooth effect, and also lighter weight as well, really important. So some of the fabrics here that's in the forum, we've got cooling fabrics. That's a big direction at the moment, and it's really interesting for the consumer as well, because it's actually a performance they can feel in store. So if you go in store and a product says cool touch, cooling technology, they feel it and the fabric feels cool, so they know it works. So that's a very important performance for spring-summer 2024. And then our final one, permutation. And this was where we were seeing sort of like an element of escapism, and also seeing the hybrid direction coming through. So the synthetics, bio-based synthetics as well, working alongside the natural fibres. One of the key aspects on the sustainability front, a lot of people immediately think you can't have the synthetics. Well, you can, because everybody's got the sort of like potential, you know, the natural versus the synthetics. But from the brand developers we speak to, they want sort of like a durable product. And the longer lasting, the better it is for the end of use. So this is, you know, an interesting development where everybody's kind of equal in the development. So one area, I'm just going to pull this one up because it's the best product from Zundai Knitting. This was the street sports, and this is an area that's really important because we're seeing a crossover. So it's, you know, you can have a running top, but at the same time it's perfectly, looks fine in an urban situation or the commute to work. So definitely a growing area there, and it's sort of like having the diversity of a product, so people aren't just buying, they want more than just a sports product or an outdoor product. So that's really important for the consumer. And then this was an interesting one. I'll give you this slide. This was if you see it in the forum, it's got a milky touch, but it's got a crinkled finish. So again, this permutation, seeing some you know, sort of like the surface effects coming through. So these are all the trends for Spring Summer 2024. Got one more. And they're available in the trend book. Everything's available in the trend book that we have at the reception area. And all the trend information, all the products, contact details, and it's available digitally as well. And all the fabrics for fall winter 23, 24 are also in the forum. So if you're still sourcing for that season, go and check it out. So thank you very much for your time, and if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Apologies for that, I've forgotten about the best product. Okay, this is the important bit. Okay, so best products. We start off with base layer. And what's really interesting about the jury meeting, and we have done it in the past where we did it online and all received swatches and then discussed it online. It's this time around we met back in Munich, so it was really great to be part of the jury meeting. We also come from all different backgrounds in the textile industry, so we all learn from each other. And also get, you know, key factors of why we like a particular fabric or someone else likes it. So, you know, it really works together, this sort of like judging approach. So, I'm delighted to say for base layer, it was Tintex textiles. And I've just jotted down the reasons why we selected them. And for this one, it's a tencel C-cell blend. And there's an element of well-being from the C-cell in there, but it's also anti-odor, and that's also really important as a performance anti-odor because it lasts longer, you've got a fresher effect longer. And again, the hand feel was really beautiful. And then our base layer, this was really interesting from Hyundai, and it's a jacquard fabric, you'll see, you know, sort of like here. But if you go to the forum, it's a double-sided fabric, and for a second layer, it's quite interesting because it's eliminating the need for an outer layer. So you kind of, you know, for the consumer, they're saving. They don't need as many garments to achieve something. So it was pretty much just the fact it's double-sided performance. And then our outer layer came from DuPont with Sirona, and it wasn't just the fact that this was a bio-based fabric, but it also has a bio-based finish, so it's completely degradable, and it's a really beautiful, lightweight outer layer fabric. So it has quite a, you know, it's a Sirona polyester, so plant-based, but a really lovely hand. And then we had the membrane and coatings. And this was from Flying Textile, and it's 100% tencel, again, you know, biodegradable, but at the same time it's got a bio-based finish. So you've got the full protection of traditional finishes, but with a much stronger sustainable angle and eco-friendly angle, and again, not affecting the hand feel. When we first got some of the sustainable synthetics through, when they first developed, the hand feel was really scratchy. It's come a long way now, and it's much, much softer. And then this is a street sports one. So this is the one I mentioned just before. What's interesting, like these gold flecks coming through, gives it a little bit more of an advantage on the sort of like fashion front. This is something we've seen develop over the years with ISPO Textrends, and It once started out very neutral in tone, and now it's becoming much more fashionable. And another aspect of this, especially for the street sports sector, is we're seeing other brands from the fashion industry coming into ours looking for fabrics. So mills are continuing to be a lot more creative in colourways. I mean, one of the latest examples is Gucci and Adidas. So, I mean, that's a really unusual collaboration. And then this was for soft equipment, and this is it's a zero water dyeing effect, and it came in on a upper for a shoe, but the actual processing can be applied elsewhere. Obviously, saving water is crucial. Water is one of the biggest resources that the textile industry uses. So by having sort of like a dye finish that's zero water is really important for the future. And then this one was the accessories and trims for the best product. And this is really interesting as well because it's a QR code on like a PU tag. And just from that QR code, I mean, you're all aware of them, you can have so much data of a garment. So you can have where it's been made, where the yarn was sourced. You can also have it as the life cycle of a garment, especially for the second-hand market, the pre-loved market. And it's a really soft application as well, but so much information in there. And also the consumer wants to know more about their garment. They want to know where it's come from, what the performance benefits are. And also for retailers, you haven't got all those hang tags and stories to tell. So we thought this was a really good idea. And then finally, this was Accelerated Eco, the best product for that. And this was a PU-based and water-based heat transfer. And because of the bio aspects of it, it was really important to us. But again, with the heat transfers, this is something that we see in a very competitive market, that we don't want so much sameness. So with heat transfers, you can really sort of like customize collections and stand out from your competitors. So by having this bio-based one, that's why it became the best product for Accelerated Eco. So they're all our winners, and we look forward to going through the same process for fall-winter 24-25, and it'll be quite good. Which one's that? One final one. Performance finishes. And this was, this was really interesting in the fact it's a finish and it's got the typical multifunctional aspects like water repellents and windproof elements coming through, but it's also got a well-being element, and it was with orange, lemon and bergamot, and we're seeing a lot more of this sort of like well-being coming through from the yarns and using really unusual ingredients. So this sort of like combination of having that high level performance and then these sort of like natural elements coming through for well-being, that's why that won the performance finishes. So they are all our best product winners for Spring Summer 2024. And as I say, we'll hopefully go through the whole process again for Fall Winter 24-25. There's a visual of the book. As I say, on the reception area in the forum, go and have a look through it. And also for more details of how to get the book or the digital copy, the QR code. So thank you very much for your time. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.